Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Impact series hosted by 4Zero. And today I'm very happy to have Carsten Brinkschulte here with me, and who is the co-founder and CEO at Dryad. So Carsten, thanks for jumping on today.
No, thanks, Michael.
So for those people, Carsten, that not familiar with Dryad, it'd be great if you can give a quick introduction about what it is your business does. I suppose the climate issue that you're helping, and your company's solution to that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks. Dryad Networks is, I guess, what you would call an impact for profit. So our main objective is to have an environmental impact, and to do that, of course, profitably helps to scale the business. The issue that we have chosen to address is in particular the problem of wildfires, which is one of the biggest issues we think, and completely overlooked in many cases. It's generating about 20% of global CO2 emissions, between 6 and 8 billion tons annually, about the same amount the entire traffic puts into the air. So that's something that definitely needs addressing, and we think it's kind of a low-hanging fruit to approach that with technology. So we've created what we call technology for ultra-early detection of wildfires that should help to reduce the time it takes for the firefighters to get to the scene and extinguish a fire while it's still in its early phases. So we've created an IoT sensor network to do just that.
Okay, brilliant. And you said, that's right, 20% of all global CO2 emissions are created by wildfires. Is that right?
It is a staggering figure. It's between 6 and 8 billion tons, and it's not surprising if you think about it. The forest is the largest carbon sink worldwide. Yeah. And therefore, of course, if it burns, it's releasing all the carbon that it has sequestered over, say, 100 years. All of that is being released in a matter of days when it burns.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you just hear numbers like that, it's just incredible to think that so much is coming from, of our emissions from wildfires. But I was watching one of your videos before, Carsten, and you said that the majority of those fires are actually, they're human-made as well. So they're a consequence of our own actions.
It is. That's right. In most regions, it's between 80 and 90% of wildfires that can be traced back to human activity, and that is arson, accidents, basically stupidity, as well as technical faults. So all of that, of course, in some is human induced, and that's between 80 and 90% of all fire starts. Yeah.
So, and again, so that when you look at these kind of huge numbers, they get 20% for wildfires, 20% for transport. But this is one that we can really kind of make a control, like you said. So if your network can detect these fires early enough, it means that even if someone has accidentally started a fire, knocked over their camping stove, we should be able to kind of quickly identify that and then get that fire put out before it spreads as well.
That is indeed our mission and what we're trying to achieve. We've created these solar-powered gas sensors that we actually place in the forest under the tree canopy. They can stay there for 10 to 15 years, and they use built-in machine learning, AI, to actually reliably identify the smell of a fire. Think of it like an electronic nose that we stick into the forest, and that's of course much faster than having cameras or satellite that rely on visual detection that typically takes several hours before a fire can be detected. So our sensors and the accompanying network that enables those sensors to communicate out of the depth of the forest, we aim to detect fires within the first 60 minutes from ignition.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And what stage are you at with this then, Carsten? So is this live in any kind of any live environment at the moment?
Well, we've been working on this for 2 years. The company is relatively young. We started in 2020, raised some seed funds, got some EU funding, and developed the technology over the last 2 years. And since April, we're in rollout with the first 12 customers that have actually paid for small-scale installations initially in Southern Europe, in US, and in Asia. And now we're actually scaling. We just raised a Series A and in the process of manufacturing 10,000 units by the end of the month, 7,000 of which have already been sold.
Amazing. And that's no small feat. So 10.5 million euros in funding, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. We do, as a hardware manufacturer, obviously need capital to manufacture the units and sell them, as well as scale the team to support the international sales and ramp up and support of what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. But and I know, so we had a talk a couple of weeks ago, but I think this is the kind of stage one as well, right? So this obviously, so you've got fire detection, but the devices you've got, they're not just limited to detecting wildfires. They can be, hopefully can be used in a variety of different ways.
Those devices also do temperature, humidity, and air pressure, but I think the fundamental aspect of what Dryad is doing is establishing a network, an IoT network in the forest, and it's it's these solar-powered network infrastructure that we place into the forest. We're like the Vodafone of the forest. We're creating a solar-powered mesh network, IoT infrastructure in the forest, and that can be used over time for health and growth monitoring of the forest, and not just to detect fires. So we want to help afforestation and reforestation projects by measuring soil moisture, tree growth, and other health parameters, not just prevent the total destruction by fires.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really stood out for me actually when we had our initial chat, Carsten. You saying that I suppose the Vodafone of the forest, this kind of connecting the forests, not for kind of 4G or 5G purposes, so people can use YouTube or download into the forest, but you kind of get some meaningful data.
Yeah, so it's not about connecting your smartphones. We're using an industry standard called LoRa, which is something like like Wi-Fi, but for long range, but low bandwidth. So we can't transmit videos or even voice, but it's enough to transmit data, and that's exactly what you need in order to protect and help to restore the forest growth that we need to maintain one of our most vital ecosystems.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, fantastic. And Carsten, so what does the future look like? What does the next 3, 5, 10 years look like for Dryad?
Well, I mean, as I said, we're an impact for profit. So our main objective is to have an environmental impact, and we project the ecological impact just like we project revenue and profitability. And so our goal is by 2030 to have installed about 120 million sensors.
Wow.
And yeah, of course that's ambitious, but as a startup, you're supposed to do that. Now, if we succeed with that amount of installation, we should be able to protect about 3.9 million hectares of forest from burning. And if you look at how much carbon is stored in them, that would prevent about 1.7 billion tons of CO2 emissions if we succeed with that large scale rollout.
That's huge. And so is that going to be global, or are you focusing on specific kind of areas around the globe?
No, that's a global projection. Obviously, we're right now focusing on Southern Europe, United States, Canada, as well as some parts of Asia. In particular, Australia is key, Indonesia is key. Yeah. But those projections are on a global basis and accumulative over the period of time.
Fantastic. And what about the company itself? So I think you said that you're at roughly 30, or you set yourself a target to get to 30 people by the end of the year. I think that you were on track to hit that. What about the company? What is the kind of the size of the company, the reach of the company? Where do you expect to kind of have people, offices located as well?
Well, we've hit the 30. In fact, we've crossed it. We're now 31 as of today.
Congratulations.
Yes. So, but mainly, of course, we need to scale in terms of sales, marketing, supply chain, logistics, and because we're a hardware company, and that means also we need the back office and the team to support the growth, as well as the continuous engineering. So we're going to scale on all aspects. Hopefully, we'll be about 50 or so by the end of next year.
Okay.
Of course, we won't overdo it. I guess everybody has to be careful in these economic conditions, but the feedback from the market is quite good at the moment. And if it continues like that, of course, we'll also have to scale the team to support the rollout.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And you mentioned sales there. Well, that was you told me an interesting fact about sales when we spoke last. And you said that all of your customers so far, you said they've all found you. Is that right? So they've all found Dryad while looking for, so there's obviously a need out there that you're helping to address.
Yes, indeed. And so our method is not to do cold calling customers, because that's quite difficult. We're selling to private forestry, to governments, and to electricity companies and railroads. Difficult to find those buyers by yourself.
Yeah.
And our method is actually to focus on marketing and PR and wait for inbound requests of companies and customers interested in working with us. And so far that has worked. So we get a lot of requests, more than we can handle at the moment, actually.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, that's a good sign for any prospective salesperson that was to join the business. Lots of warm inbound leads for someone to work with is a salesperson's dream. So, look, Carsten, that was what I wanted to run through today. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you on. The purpose of this Impact series is to help spread the word. It's to kind of to get your message out there, highlight the great things that people and companies are doing out there, and Dryad are certainly one of those. And we wish you all the best of success. Obviously, it's a huge area, as we've been discussing, 20% of carbon emissions. And it doesn't look like, as far as I can see, many other people are kind of looking to address this and how it can be done. So obviously, for everybody's sake, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Michael.
Good stuff. Well, thanks, Carsten. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.